and welcome to today's episode of the Created to Write show. I am Michelle Dennis Evans, your host, and today I have the lovely, beautiful Rose Dee, all the way from North Queensland. Do we call it North Queensland?
We call it North.
Welcome. Welcome,
Hi.
Rose.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Michelle. It's such a blessing to be here.
Absolute pleasure. Now, would you like to just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you write?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I do live in North Queensland, in Mackay, actually, in North Queensland. I am a North Queensland girl, born and bred. And that's what I write about. I just write about beaches, boats, islands. My stories are a great read to have on a holiday, especially if you're sitting by a pool and yeah, enjoying life. And I'm 52 years old, and I'm a widow. My husband passed away 6 years ago from cancer, and I have a son who's 20. And I have a stepdaughter, and I have one granddaughter who's 3, and a little granddaughter on the way. And my stepdaughter's husband, they work for out in the Northern Territory for the Flying Doctors. So yeah, I don't see a lot of them, but yeah, I miss them and I love them. And yeah, life is pretty good. I run my own business, which is in the mining industry, and in the spare time, I try to write. So I have a 3-book series called the Resolution series, and that's set here in Mackay. And I have a standalone novel called Ehvah After. And I have a conjunction novel called The Greenfield Legacy that I wrote with 3 other Aussie authors, and we all wrote one part or one character of that book. So I also have a novella, and I used to have a gig in the US for many, many years writing for an online magazine. So, but yeah, since my husband passed, my writing has definitely taken a little bit of a back step in my life, because it was something I always did when I had the time to do that. And since he passed, running the business and raising our son has kind of taken the forefront of the life that I lead. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the seasons, hey, seasons of a writer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And tell us, Rose, what's the best thing about being a writer?
I think the best thing about being a writer is finding the outlet for your creativity. Everybody has it. Everybody has a creative part of their soul and their being, and I think that's part of you. You can see it in your walk in faith. The Lord is such a creative. We serve such a creative God, and I think He's put that little bit of creativity in all of us. And finding that thing that gives you joy, that creative joy, I think that has been so fulfilling for me with my writing. I always love stories. I love storytelling. I tell all new parents to really take note of what their little ones do and love to do when they're toddlers and little people, because often that's where their joy lies. And for me, it was always books and reading and writing. And even in primary school, I love to write. So to come into the fulfillment of that as an adult, and I did that a bit later in life. I sort of let that love of writing, lay dormant for quite some time, and I took it back up when my son was in prep. And he's 20 now, so that was some time ago. And yeah, and it's fulfilled a creative outlet in me that I didn't even really know that I needed, and it gives me such joy.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you on that one. Yes, we've all got a creative part. Some of us are writers.
Yeah.
It's just finding that niche to have that outlet of creativity, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
and even though I'm not doing a lot of writing these days, I'm still using that creative outlet. Like, I love to help other writers. My friend Narelle and I recently came down to the Writers' Conference, and we did a presentation on how to be an indie author or how to self-publish. So for me, in these years where I haven't had time to write my own or do a lot of my own writing, I'm still using the talents that I have and the skills that I've acquired as a writer to serve others. And I'm actually finding a huge amount of joy and enjoyment in that process as well, helping others on their journey of writing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great. Great session that you two ran. I thoroughly enjoyed it and learnt a lot.
Yeah.
And Narelle was just on the show recently too.
Oh,
So,
great.
yes.
Okay.
And what style of writer are you? Do you plot everything out or do you write by the seat of your pants?
I am a seat of my pants writer. I mean, and actually, I'm so pleased that I started writing when I knew nothing about writing, because if I had realized the technical side of things, I might have gotten a bit caught up in that and maybe never quite gotten off the ground. And yeah, and I just had an idea in my head, and I had I don't even sit down and write a lot of things down. I just get it onto paper, so to speak, or onto keyboard. And yeah, I just let it go, just let it flow, like, and it always does. And I always have an idea of where I want to go with a storyline or where I want to go with a character, but sometimes they surprise me. It's almost like they take on a life of their own. I do know them quite well before I start writing them. Like I've got, my little scenarios in my head that I've played out as to how they would react to things, and what their character is like and what they love and don't love, and even so far as like what are their traumas, what are they struggling with. So I know all of that. I almost have a bit of an internal relationship with them before I start writing their story, and then I just kind of sit down and let it go where it takes me.
We all have imaginary friends, don't we, us authors?
Yeah. They are definitely mine.
They just live up there in our head. We can become friends
Yeah,
with our characters.
we do. We do. I like all of them. I even like the bad ones because, like, you don't have a good story without a bad character, right?
This
You gotta
is
have the
true. This
villains.
is true. Are
Yeah.
you writing at the moment?
Oh, look, I'm dabbling. I did contribute a story for Palette at um, the anthology that we had, not this last year, this year, the year before that. Symphony of Grace, I think it was. Symphony of Grace. I did write something for that, and that was a very, very personal story about my journey with narcissistic abuse. And that was it was a little bit of a step back into writing for me. I'm sort of at the point now where I'm thinking, okay, well, I need the time to write more. I want to write more. And so I'm dabbling in a few little ideas and a few things, but nothing sort of that I can say, this is my work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
My journey as a writer is my work in progress more than
Yeah,
than any actual writing. So, but that's okay. That's the season I'm in.
it is. And everything we grow through develops into something in our writing later on in the journey anyway. And it makes our writing richer, everything we
Yeah, it
go
does.
through. Mm.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's all in the plan, isn't it?
It's all in the plan, and it's never our plan.
Mhm. It's always better than what we expected,
Always.
especially when we belong to him. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we have a lot of aspiring authors or new authors who watch this. Do you have any advice that you'd like to share to those newbie writers?
The newbie writers, well, look, just be brave, um, and be yourself. There's so much noise around writing. And I'm so grateful that I started writing before I even understood that there was noise around writing, or that there were, a lot of how-tos or processes, or I didn't even know the process of editing or any of those things. And I'm very, very blessed that my manuscript, my very first thing that I wrote was picked up by a traditional publisher. So I'm actually traditionally published for my first three novels, and I'm really blessed in that respect. But I think that your work has to be, number one, who you are and what you want to write. And number two, it has to be what the Lord's called you to write, like what you know in your heart that He has on your heart to write. And if you stay true to those two things, then you definitely, you definitely have a greater measure of joy. Just sometimes all the noise can get too much, and you just need to quieten that down. And don't be scared to take a pause. Don't be scared to just put it on the shelf and say, look, I'm not quite sure where He's leading me here with this. I'm just going to listen for a bit. Because that's what I've done in the last 6 years since my husband passed. He's just said, no, you don't need to be writing at the moment. There are other things that you need to do. And I look back on the last 6 years and the enormous undertaking that He has, the things that He's brought me through. And I'm so grateful that I've had that time without the pressure that I put on myself to get the writing done, to keep it going, to keep storytelling, to keep churning them out. Don't be afraid to just take a pause and listen. Yeah.
Great advice. Great advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for those of you who are still watching, please hit that like and share and subscribe button, whichever one you feel like hitting. Leave us a comment. Go and follow Rose. Rose, I'll put your links in the show notes.
Thank you.
And do you have anything else you want to share before we go?
Oh, I think, you go through seasons in life, and each season has such great purpose when you belong to Jesus. He's already been there through every single season. And sometimes He'll pause a season. Sometimes you feel like the season is just going so fast. Like I said, the first thing I sat down and wrote was taken up, and it was a book, before I could know it. And sometimes He works so quickly, like in a blink of an eye. And sometimes He just slows us down and wants us to just, take a little bit of a pause in life, and He wants to show us something else. And just work that season, no matter what you're doing. If it's a season of editing your work the season, just understand that this is an important part of writing, and this is an important part of your journey as a writer and as an author, and just be at peace in the season you're in.
Love it. Beautiful advice. Thank you so much, Rose. And thank you everyone for hanging around. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. I already said that, didn't I? Anyway, if you haven't subscribed,
do it.
Subscribe today. And remember, you were created to create and you were created to write.
Thank you.